Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another backstage interview for the Metals Investor Forum. I have Stuart Rogers from Edgemont Gold with me for this conversation. And in his presentation, Stu outlined, what Edgemont is focused on here, which is this project that has all the characteristics that you would want of a potentially very nice copper gold porphyry. And so, the Edgemont investment thesis is let's invest in that and they'll go out and drill it. And the one thing Stu didn't really have time to get to in the presentation was a bit more clarity on exactly how they're going to drill this thing, like where the holes are going to be and how they're targeting that. So Stu, I would love it if we could dive into that in a little more detail. Do you want to take us through the targeting and the drill plan ideas here?
Sure, happy to do that. Sort of referring to a slide here with three cross sections for the IP anomaly we're targeting. The IP anomaly covers about roughly 1.2 kilometers in diameter. These three cross sections from the IP show a very high chargeability anomaly across three lines, and we just selected three lines over the course of 800 meters. There are more lines to the north and the south on this, but basically these lines show the anomaly has legs over 400 meters from where we have one drill hole, historic drill hole on the property in the center on line 1800. And that drill hole has been superimposed over the cross section from our IP report, our IP survey. And it shows that when they drilled this in 1975, bottom of the hole was 142 meters of base of chalcopyrite. Barely scratched the surface of this large IP anomaly, and the strongest IP anomalies have never been tested by drilling, and that's basically what we're going to do here now. In this drill hole, let's start with sort of the 6 holes we're planning in the initial program. This drill hole was, collared right in the center, sort of the top of the anomaly. We're going to actually just pull back, in this case, to the left, about 75 meters, and sort of follow under where that old drill hole, old drill hole, if you might as well call it that, because that's what it is, and tested the target. And this time we're going to go 500 meters. All the holes we're doing here are 500 meter holes. Okay. So we want to test this at depth. The IP survey basically is only following this down to 200 meters. So we're going to go below what we're seeing on the IP survey. It looks like the mineralization, the tenor, the chargeability, things are getting better as we get deeper. So let's go deeper. So that's the first hole. Let's just step back to the left here, 75 meters, and drill that one. From there, that's line 1800. The next two holes are going to be at line 1400, 400 meters to the south, basically following consistent line with where that hole in the middle is, and the other one's to the north. So that's pretty straightforward. We're going to just test to see if this has legs and it's going up along those lines on those two holes. So that's 3 holes of the program. The other holes we'll just talk about briefly, and I got too many maps to sort of go through here to have that really make any sense. But we're going to do one a little farther to the southeast from where that hole 171 is drilled, and we're going to drill and test underneath the outcrop. The outcrop in the property is what, 300 or 400 meters southeast of where that hole 75 was drilled. So we're going to test that with the drill hole. So again, go a little farther and go under that. The other 2 holes, we talked about a new hidden intrusive one that hadn't been identified by historic work to the north. That is, I'll slip back here quickly. And that is here. The area where we just talked about the drilling is in the purple ellipse, where you can see where hole 75-1 is. And the possible intrusion to the north is what we're going to test with 2 drill holes. So that's showing up as a nice target on there, and we're going to put 2 holes in the back to test that. Yes, that's the short version.
That's the short version, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty excited because all the indications, with the soil samples, the graph samples, the magnetic survey, the IP survey, it looks really good. What we're seeing is, the highest chargeability anomaly is probably not where we're going to see the best mineralization. That's going to be in the lower chargeability areas, which are much larger surrounding that intrusive, the high chargeability anomaly. The other thing that's interesting is we have done work in analyzing the drill logs, and there is a zone of a quartz breccia zone that was intercepted by that drill hole in 1975. It's about 60 feet across, according to their reports, roughly 20 meters, and that appears from all indications with quartz veining. It appears that that could be, we're optimistic that could be a high-grade drill zone because it sounds exactly the same as what Sun Summit drilled 7 kilometers to the south. They're drilling basically through the same mineralization. They're targeting the high IP anomalies. They've hit the quartz zone. We have that quartz zone on the target that we're going to drill, that we're going to test. We have an idea where that quartz brushing may be running through it. We're going to target that as well. So we think we might have potential for high grade gold zone here. As in most of these porphyries, your copper, you get high grade copper in areas, you get your higher grade golds in different areas. They don't always exist in the same spot, but we think it's going to be pretty interesting.
Exciting times. And I think it said it on your slide and you referenced, but it's important for everyone to remember that drill hole 75 that Stu referenced a bunch of times there, they don't have assay numbers for that hole. They have really good drill logs. So the geologists who drilled that hole wrote down what they saw, and Edgemont has those, but you don't actually have assays for that. So yeah, so it in that sense, it's a brand new target because we don't know any numbers from it at all.
No, but then it was the only deep hole drilled on the property. There's lots of shallow holes drilled around sort of that hole, but they only went down about 75 meters. And they actually had some decent grades in them, but nothing to knock your socks off. But what we really saw here was the one deep hole. It looks like, well, the log looks good. So let's hope the assays
back it up.
Back up what the geologists see and believe based on what they're recording.
And assuming permitting continues on sort of the time frame that you are expecting right now, you should be drilling in sort of the next month or two. That's a fair statement?
Yeah, I think right now we've got an RFP we're putting together. We've got a number of drill companies that we've actually worked with in the past that want to bid on this. Guys we know that are good, so that's great. I'm encouraged. A lot of people are having trouble getting people even interested in what they're doing. So we're basically indicating to them, May, because if I don't want to tell them April and it's delayed and then they got a problem. So they're not going to accept that. So I think if we make a plan to start in May, I think we'll be in pretty good shape. The ministry office is telling us probably April we'll get the permit, but again, it's COVID, good excuse for being behind for everybody. Not getting things done. But
COVID is many things, but it has also become that for sure.
It has, and you have to get. We've gone through all the preliminary review, and actually the important thing is this is not our first permit. This is our third permit on this property.
Right.
We've been there, we've done work, we did the field work with the IP surveys. We know where the roads are, so. We're not an unknown quantity. We filed our application. Everything was in order. It's all good. We're just waiting for the inspector to pick it up, go to site if he needs to, and make his determination. And that's kind of the tricky part. We're getting people out in the field and around, I assume. So,
right. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
So I think to be realistic, to make it, we got to commit something to the driller. I mean, we're figuring it'll be in, in May. But again, we've contacted their office, and we'll hopefully get a better idea at the start of the week. What's happening, where they're at, where we are in the backlog.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for the clarification on the drill program. That's good to understand. And that you're putting 1 or 2 holes, that you're spreading them around into the outcrop area, into that other intrusion to the north, and on several lines into the current interpreted intrusion area. Exciting times. Here's hoping.
You got it. Thanks a lot, Gwen. Appreciate
Thanks,
your interest.